Hi, I'm Dr. Karen Hills-Pruden, and this is Pimp Your Career to the C-Suite. And I know you're saying, Karen, what are you talking about? Pimp. Yes, Pimp. P-I-M-P. Pimp is actually an acronym, and it is an acronym for plan and prepare, implement, monitor, and post debrief. And it's actually an acronym that I created that you can use for goal setting. You can use it for project management. You can use it to help you obtain any particular goal. But today, yes, today, we are talking about your career. We are talking about those individuals who are in corporate America, who are in the business world, not necessarily entrepreneurs, but you may be a dualpreneur, you may be in the business world, and you may be an entrepreneur. But we're talking about how do you elevate your career in corporate America? And so we're going to spend a few minutes on that, and we're going to talk about how you can use P-I-M-P, PIMP, to help you do that. And so first, let me tell you a little bit about myself. A lot of passion comes out of some type of pain point, and really my love for being a female leadership coach. I specifically work with female middle managers seeking senior leadership positions. My love comes from a pain point at one time in my life. You see, at one time in my life, I was a middle manager, and I knew that I wanted to be in senior leadership, but I didn't know anybody in senior leadership. I just didn't know. It's not that many women that were in senior leadership, and I didn't know anyone in senior leadership. And so I didn't have anyone to kind of guide me on what it is that I needed to focus on if I wanted to be in senior leadership. And so I did the only thing that I knew how to do at that time in my life, which was LinkedIn was very new. This was about 15 years ago. So LinkedIn was very new, but I went up on LinkedIn and I did some little research, found some females who were in vice president positions, and looked at their profiles, specifically picked out females who were in the same industry as myself. I work in human resources. And so I just kind of did some research by looking at their education, their experience, their years of experience, what position they had before they went to their C-suite position. Because keep in mind, a C-suite position is your most senior position in organizations. It is your directors, it is your vice presidents, it is your assistant vice president positions. And so these are your most senior level positions, and maybe different titles in different organizations, but they're still C-suite because they're your most senior positions in the organization. And so I found a vice president of human resources. She had been a vice president of human resources for a while. And I reached out to her and I said, via a direct message, it was basically the equivalent of a cold call, but it was direct messaging on LinkedIn. I attached a copy of my resume, and I said, my name is Karen. I am seeking a mentor to help coach me. I am interested in senior leadership. Will you be my coach? Will you be my mentor? And this lady didn't know me from Adam. And she said to me, she did respond, yes, for $350 an hour. Wow. Now, $350 an hour is a lot of money. It was a lot of money back then. It is a lot of money now. But I didn't know anyone in senior leadership. And so back against the wall, I had to make it happen. My motto is no excuses, make it happen. And so I made no excuses. I came up with that $350 every month because I hired her for 1 hour every month for 1 year. And she poured into me and poured into me. Now, granted, each month, getting ready for my meeting with her, I had a whole scroll of questions because I was going to get all of my bang for my buck for that $350. But she answered every question. She provided a lot of information. It's because of her that I have a love of analytics. She really helped me create a fondness for how to tell what my business is doing through the use of analytics. She really helped me to be able to storytell using data points in my business, because that was a competency that she felt that I was missing going from management to leadership. And so, yeah, she poured into me for 1 full year. And then guess what? After that year, shortly afterwards, I was able to interview for a position in leadership, and I have been in leadership since then. If you are looking to elevate your career from middle management to senior leadership, you will need to P.I.M.P your way into that position. Keep in mind, you can't just go to the job posting for a senior leadership position. Some companies do post director positions, but most companies do not post VP positions. Generally, they staff these positions through an executive recruiter, or you may have an executive recruiter reach out to you. And this is how it happens. You'll get an email or a phone call, and they'll say, hey, we are staffing for a vice president of marketing position. Do you know anyone who may be interested in a vice president of marketing position? Really, they're saying they're interested in you because they have already reviewed your information on LinkedIn or anywhere else, and they've already identified you as a possible candidate, but they don't want to come across as someone who is kind of poaching another employer's employee. So they'll send you an email, or they'll call you and ask you, do you know anyone in that who's looking for that particular position? And they'll send you the job posting to send to that person. But really, the translation to that is, if you're interested, apply. So let's say you are interested in moving from middle management to senior leadership. The first thing I want you to do is P. You need to prepare and plan. You need to figure out what job at what company that you are interested in. Pick about 2 to 3 of your favorite organizations that you want to work for, and you need to do your research. You need to find out what education, what years of experience, what type of experience. Are you required to manage a $1 million budget? Are you required to manage multi-site operations? Are you required to manage multi-level operations? How many employees will the position be responsible for? Because if you're currently managing only 20 employees, then it may be a stretch for you to oversee 2,000 employees. And so you want to find out all of the qualifications of that position for that company. Keeping in mind that director and vice president positions, the qualifications and the responsibilities are different from company to company. And so do your research. 2 to 3 companies that you like, do your research. And then you want to check the job postings, but know that most of those positions are being filled by executive recruiters. And so when you get that call, what you want to do is, even if you aren't looking at that particular time, ask them to keep you on their list. So when you are interested in moving up, they will continue to send you job postings, executive job postings in your industry. So you decided you want to move up. So that's the planning and the preparation, doing all of the research. Next, I want you to implement. Implement is basically taking all of your research, which is the research about the jobs you're interested in, and kind of shoring it up against your own qualifications, to make sure that you have what it takes to apply for these positions, figure out where your gaps are, determine how you're going to close in the gaps, to determine which jobs you will apply for. I want you to apply for all of the jobs that you meet at least 80% of the qualifications. And you say, Karen, 80%? Yes, 80%, not 100%, 80%. You do not have to meet all of the qualifications of a job that you apply for. If they want you bad enough, they will train you for the other 15 to 20%. If you meet 80% of the qualifications and you are interested in the position, apply for it. You know, that's one of the things that I am a female senior leadership coach. One of the things that is a kind of a difference between men and women. A woman sometimes will think that she needs to meet every qualification on a job posting. And if she does not, she will shy away from applying for that job. Some men don't even meet 40% of it, but they're still going to apply. And so we need to do like the fellas, and we need to go ahead and apply. But I will tell you truthfully and honestly, if you meet 80% of the qualifications, go ahead and apply, because if you never know who you are up against in the qualified candidate pool. And so your experience may be overall exactly what they're looking for, your background, your education, how you came up in various disciplines, the type of companies that you work for. For instance, if you work for a competitor, that's an advantage as opposed to someone who has worked within one organization all of their career. You know, you are more marketable as many competitors as you have worked for, because you know how different companies operate, as opposed to one person who have been with one employer for 30 years. You only know how that employer operates. And so you want to go ahead and apply. So P, plan and prepare. I is implementation. And then M is monitor. You want to monitor. When did you apply for a job? How long has it been since you applied? Have you heard from them? Did they acknowledge the fact that you applied for the job? What jobs are you getting a call back for? Are you getting a phone screening interview? Are you getting a first level interview? Did you make it to the second level of interviews? Are there some type of testing that's associated with the position? If so, how did you do with the testing? Do you feel comfortable going through that process because you knew what it was that they were asking for? And so in the monitoring is where you see how you're doing in these various processes for these 2 to 3 jobs that you're going to apply for. And then as you move through either being weeded out, because you may not be the successful candidate at that time, or maybe to an offer process, maybe they couldn't meet your financial needs or financial requirements, or maybe you didn't get an offer at all, then you move into the post debrief. And the post debrief is where you look at every process, employment recruitment process for every job that you applied for, and you assess it. You assess whether or not you got a call back. You assess whether or not you even got an interview. You look at what they were asking for versus what you had to offer in terms of on your paper, in terms of your overall profile. And keep in mind, for senior leaders, you need more than a resume to be a senior leader. You also need a work profile. And on your work profile, it will identify how much money you make for an organization, how much money you save for an organization, major projects and mergers that you have worked with in various organizations, high visibility project teams that you worked on. If you were on a team with the presidents and the vice presidents, that's good. You want that on your work profile. Your work profile is your body of work with your success, with your productivity, with your data points. And so that is in addition to your resume as a senior leader. And so P.I.M.P, PIMP, your career to senior leadership. That is exactly what I want you to do. I want you to plan and prepare. Those days of waiting for your employer to give you a promotion are over, ladies. Take control of your career. You are the pilot in your career. Do not take a back seat. And you not only are you the pilot, you're definitely not riding in coach. I want you to be more strategic. I need you to be more intentional when it comes to your career. And I don't want you to be so loyal that you stay too long with the organization that does not value you. I want you to plan. I want you to prepare. I want you to implement. I want you to monitor all of your processes for the 2 to 3 jobs that you're going to apply for. And then you have to do that post debrief, because that post debrief is going to help identify what you did well that resulted in you moving along in the employment recruitment process. Is going to help you identify those gaps in your qualifications that maybe you need to pay attention to make yourself more marketable. It's going to help you identify what industries are calling you for interviews and what industries are not. You know, that post debrief is critical because it will allow you to draw a roadmap of how to recreate your success as you're looking for your leadership job. And on the flip side of that, that post debrief will identify those things that you do not want to do ever again in the employment recruitment process, because you have determined that it was not advantageous for you to do whatever it is. And so you really need to be realistic in that post debrief. But P.I.M.P, we're going to be pimping in 2022. You're going to hear me talking about P.I.M.P. We're going to be creating and setting and being strategic and intentional when it comes to some goals. We're going to get more women in leadership. We're going to make it happen, because you know my motto is no excuses, make it happen. I am Dr. Karen Hills Pruden, and I am known as your C-suite career elevation expert. Level up. Bye.